Hey, hey, hey. Thanks for tuning in to KAZ Radio TV. It's your girl, Angela. And thank you for viewing my second podcast, No More Triggers. Today we are going to get started with my shout outs, and I want to correct the shout out that I did last week. I was so nervous. I'm still nervous. Just to let y'all know, I'm still nervous, but I'm a little more at ease. But I'm shaking in my boots. But the shout out for Dom last time, I said he made the beat. Dom did way more than make the beat. He wrote the lyrics, he laid the track, he did everything, and someone else made the beat for him, and someone else mastered it. But Don was I just gave him the direction, the vision, and he brought it to life. So thank you, Dom, again for my theme song. We also did a video for it this past weekend on the 11th, actually on my birthday. Woo woo! Shout out to me, happy birthday. So that was really nice, really interesting. Another shout out I want to give is to Phil from Akron, because I know he's watching. Hey, Phil. I knew Phil for a couple of years, and he ended up coming to my show last year, and he loved it. He bought a VIP ticket, and that's what I call support. Thank you, Phil. Another shout out I want to do is for a stylist. She is in California. She was reaching out to people on Facebook. She was giving away free clothing, and she actually shipped. I responded to her post, and she actually shipped me like 3 or 4 pairs of jeans. She shipped me about 3 or 4 blouses. So that was like, it was really nice. She paid for shipping and handling. Her name is Marie Antoinette. She is a fashion stylist and stylist influencer. She offers services like personal shopping, styling day by day, styling for events and functions, including formal wear. And she also styles for like video shoots, photo shoots, and everything like that. So check her out. Her Instagram is Marie Antoinette, and she's a fashion stylist, and I do love the clothes. All right, so my last shout out is going to go to the 900 viewers. Woo-hoo, thank you so much for viewing my first podcast. I love you guys. I just want to thank you guys for taking your time out to watch me. All right, so those were my shout outs. So today we are going to be doing story time. Last week I brushed up on a couple of things that I went through my domestic violence situations in a sense of a question and answer form. But this time I'm going to start telling my story from beginning to end. I'm not going to sit there and do every little detail, even though I am a detailed person. I'm going to give y'all as much as I can give y'all within these 30 minutes, okay? I forgot to bring my tissues just in case I cry, but I have a backup plan. I have a backup plan. So, without further ado, here we go. All right. So, like any relationship, I'm gonna start off with the basics. I was with him for 4.5 years, and we have one son together. My son is now 14 years old. That's just the basics. So I met him. I can't even think, but I met him with my oldest son, which is now 19. I met him when he was, believe, two or three. So I knew him. So like any relationship, they start off with the good times. You have the good times. The good times is what make you laugh, make you develop those good feelings, make you get closer, make you bond, make you feel like one unit. Of course, it's the good times. But I always say it takes a good 90 days for someone to really start showing their true colors. Before I get deep into my story, I want y'all to see I got this is my purple flag. You guys know how people say red flag? Red flag. That's a red flag. So we're gonna say purple flag. We're gonna be different. So as I'm going through my story and I'm telling you guys my stories, as now that I can see the red flags, I couldn't see them back then. So as I'm going through my story, I'm gonna hold up my flag, like, yep, that was a purple flag, which means I should have been more aware of the situation that was going on, but I was blinded by the good things. Okay, so that's my purple flag, y'all. All right, so we start off with the good times. I met him because he delivered me a damn pizza. And he delivered my pizza, and after that day we exchanged numbers. Came over the next day, and it's like he didn't leave, and I liked it because I just thought that he was really feeling me, and I'm really feeling him. Plus we was young, we were in our 20s, guys, 20s. So when you're in your 20s, you make a lot of mistakes, even 30s and 40s and 50s and so on. But 20s, you make a lot of mistakes because you're just not really getting out there and learning life. So, he ended up coming back over, and like gradually, his stuff was moving in. We was having really, really fun times, laughing all the time. We was both, goofy. I'm really goofy. So anybody that's goofy with me, I just love it. It's such a turn on. So, but we had a really good time. I want to say the first altercation came when I didn't realize that he wasn't, like, it like dawned on me that he wasn't working. It was like soon as he ended up moving in his things with me, he stopped working. And I'm like, okay, whatever. This is my house. I gotta pay for my roof for me and my kid. I wasn't necessarily, thinking, of him. Plus, I'm thinking like, okay, he gonna get another job. I'm not the type that will bug or nag a person. So I'm, leaving it up to him. He the man. He gonna get another job. Time went on. He still ain't had no job. So now I have two jobs. Trying to maintain the household. And while I'm maintaining the household, he was like bringing a female over to the house. That's how I started. Bringing females over to the house, things like that. And he actually got caught one time bringing a female to the house. Caught her. It was crazy. I called my mama. I think he called his mama. It was a lot going on that day. So, but I should have took that. Look, I should have took that as a flag to get out, because he could have been a serial cheater or something. But I just, how you get. You're like, all right, whatever. I forgive you. Let's move on. So time moved on, and I remember when I first moved, my dad had gave me a gun to protect myself, because the area I was in, it was really a really bad area, and he ended up finding where it was at. Plus, at the time he was my boyfriend for a while, so I didn't feel like I should need to hide anything from him. So he knew where it was at, I knew he knew where it was at, and things like that. The very first time that I felt kind of scared was about 6 to 7 months into our relationship. We got into a bad fight. I went to my mom's job at the time, and came when everything calmed down. So I thought, I came back, and he wasn't there. And I was something told me to just check up under where I hid my gun at. So I was looking for it, couldn't find it. So now I'm scared because now he got the gun. He mad. I don't know how his temperament is really, because we ain't, before then we never really like had a lot of arguments except for the one time when he brought the girl in the house. Other than that, we really been like cool. So that come up missing. He stayed gone for like a couple of days, and I stayed gone at my mom's house because I was scared. I didn't know what that fool was gonna do. He could have came back and shot me in my sleep or something. So, but luckily none of that happened. So we ended up reconciling and everything, but he never brought back the gun. He never told me where the gun was at. He never even mentioned the gun after that, and I failed to even like ask him about it, just because I didn't want to seem like I was want to, how can I put this? Let's see. I didn't want to seem like I was like pressuring him into, and tell me about where the gun was at. I didn't want to, mess with his head. So I never really said nothing. About a month later or so, a family member of his ended up committing suicide. Come to find out, he committed suicide with the actual gun that belonged to me. He ended up taking it over there to his house and hid it. His cousin found it and was going through some things, and he killed himself. That was a very rough time for him because he was very young. He was young, and I felt sorry for him. I felt bad up until he started to blame me for what happened to his cousin, and I felt like I shouldn't have been getting blamed for it, but he blamed me because it was my gun. But I felt like it was him that took it over there. He shouldn't have took it out the house in the first place. But of course he this was the first time like he really like blew up, but he didn't put no hands on me or nothing like that. But like his true temper came out. So that right there, that was a purple flag. I should have known right there that something wasn't right. So as time go on, he lost a couple other family members. One was being his father, and then he lost his grandmother back to back. And me, I can relate to anybody's pain. So when he lost those three people like that back to back, I really felt, sorry for him. But it's like once they passed, it seemed like he was depressed. I can tell, everybody grieved differently, and I was just trying to be there in his corner. But I can start to see like changes in his ways. He was starting getting real manipulative with things. All of a sudden, I couldn't dress a certain way. I couldn't hold my head up in public. I couldn't be gone to the store for long periods of time, or it was an argument when I came back home. It was more of him trying to control the situation. And at that point, I put up my purple flag. I should have realized that. But at the time, I didn't know that he was basically brainwashing me and manipulating me. Then it came to the point where he wanted to call me all types of names. Always tell me that I'll never amount to anything, that I'll never be anything. Nobody's never going to want me, because I had, at the time, two kids by two different people. And hearing that consistently over and over and over and over again, you start to believe it. He started to isolate me from my family. I couldn't really go to events with my family because he wanted me to go to events with his family. It was starting to get real stressful, and then I can kind of see the jealousy part coming out of him. All of a sudden, I couldn't have no friends. He can have female friends, but I couldn't have no male friends. If he seen me talking to any guy, it could be just somebody just walking past, asking for directions to the store or anything. If it's a male, it was an argument when I got back to the house. As I stated last episode, I always kept a car. I always try to keep transportation. And he thought that he could control me if he basically take my car and crash it. Like literally, we went to an appointment. He dropped me off. I didn't get picked back up that day. I had to find a way home because I didn't know what the heck happened. I get home. He's there, but no car. Asked him what happened to the car. Oh, yeah, I crashed it and they totaled it out and this and this and that. Like it wasn't no big deal. I still don't really believe the full story of what he told me, but I think he did something with my car. He probably left it. I don't know what he did with it, but I didn't believe his story because that was another way for him to control me. So now I can't just get up and leave. I have to wait for the bus or wait for one of his people to come get him, because at the time my mom, she wasn't driving to the west side for nothing. Her car was just not up to par to get over to the west side. And plus, most of the functions that we was going to was with his family, so they'll come pick us up all the time. So after that point, it was a few jobs that I still had, and I had to catch the bus. One job in particular, I was working third shift, and it depended on my job who they'll bring to pick me up. They were very understanding at the time, the managers that was there, and they were understanding that I didn't have a way to get there because it was third shift and most of the buses stopped running after a certain time. And so they'll send people to come get me. Well, he was so jealous and vindictive that if they sent a female to come get me, I can go to work. But if they sent a male to come get me, I couldn't go to work. If a male was to come to the door and just say, "Hey, I'm coming to pick Angie up for work," I couldn't go. He would instantly tell me that if I leave out the door, that he was going to leave out the back door and then call the police and tell the police that I left my kids in the house by themselves. And that scared me because he did it once before. It was a time where I was sitting over my friend April's house. We lived in these duplexes, and literally it was just you can walk right across to the next person. I can look right directly at my house and everything. But I was talking to my friend April, and she was we're just talking about things going on, and I wanted to get away. I was tired of arguing, didn't want to be in the house. I took too long coming back, and so he threatened to call Child Protective Services and the police and tell them I didn't have no food in my house, blah, blah, blah. At that time, I didn't believe him. So I'm like, I'm coming. I'm right across the street. Like, why can't you just wait till I get there? He got upset, and he actually did call. So they came to the house. I had to go over, and I had to show them that I had food in my refrigerator, that I had clothes for my kids. Like, he told them all kinds of stuff, and I just had to show the officer and the lady that was there, which I think was a relative of his. But I had to show them that I had the proper things that I needed for my kids. And then I had to explain to them what happened in order for them to just leave the house. So fast forward to when he was telling me that if I left, that he was going to call the police again. I was frightened because he did it before. Now, who knows? I get to work and then the police come, or, they say, hey, nobody's there with your kids and blah, blah, blah. I just didn't have time for it. So I would have to literally tell them to their face that I couldn't come. It got to a point where my manager, she really didn't believe me. So one day she came, and at the time my classmate, Amos, got arrested. So he came with her to see what was going on. So she sent him to the door instead of her coming to the door. And he said the same thing. She can't go. So that's when my manager came to the door, and then, they was, talking. But of course, they can't really do nothing. So she understood. Thank goodness I didn't lose my job because of that. But she was just being really nice, and I really appreciate her for that. But she understood at that point that how he was and how he was being, manipulative. At that point, I knew I had to get a car. So I started to save up my money without him knowing. Now, there were, incidences in between there. I'm going to just say the bulletin points because it's a lot of story to tell. So in between me finding the car and getting out of that situation finally through the 4.5 years, mind you, after the 3 deaths, that's when the controlling part started. And then when I got pregnant with our son, that's when he just really felt like he owned me. Like I wasn't going nowhere, that I had to stay with him. And even during my pregnancy, he would be mean. He would, do things like push on my belly, pull my hair, and he would spit in my face. That was just one of the nastiest things I just think someone can do to you, period. Just because I was having a disagreement with him, he wanted to push on my belly and spit in my face that day. And a lot of this stuff stirred from me not agreeing with him. It was like it was his way or the highway. I didn't have a voice. I couldn't say anything. Like, as soon as I would speak up or something like that, if it wasn't of his liking, that he had an attitude, I'll try to leave it alone because I'm not an arguer. I'll go to another room. I'll try to go lay down or things of that nature. Nope, wouldn't work. He'll come up there, knocking on the door, bugging me in my ear, wanting to talk, wanting to just stay in my ear about the situation until I agree to whatever we was arguing about. By that time, I done forgot. But he wants to sit there and argue. It was a lot for me to go through at that time, because it got to a point where I couldn't sleep unless he was sleeping. It got to a point where I was so tired because it was basically a routine every day. When I could go to work, I get off in the morning, get home. Mind you, he'll still be there. He won't help me with nothing. I would have to get my son up. First, I'll come home and my screen door will be locked. So I had to wake him up in order for him to come and unlock the door, which I now realized that was a way of him knowing when I came home and when I didn't came home. So I would have to get him to open the door, come home, get my son ready, walk him to school, walk back. By that time, he want me to do something for him, so now I gotta go to the store. I gotta cook something for him. Now the baby woke. At the time, by this time I had my son, so I had to feed my son, get him together. By the time I did all of that, now it's time for me to pick up my oldest son from school. So now I gotta walk back, pick him up, come home, help him with homework, make them something to eat, maintain the baby while he just sit there all day. And it would get tiring. Like, mind you, I'm coming to work from a 3rd shift job. I was tired, and I couldn't get no sleep. And the whole 4.5 years that we were together, this man only had 2 jobs. He had a job when I first met him. Once he moved in, he quit. And then the second time he had a job was when I was on, had to go on maternity bed rest, and I couldn't work. And so he worked. And the day that I had my son, he called his job and quit and told me that I can go back to work now since I done had the baby. I told you guys a story about when he shoved me and I hit my head on the counter. It was one incident where he pushed me down the stairs and I broke my toe. I told you guys about the incident where I was just trying to leave out and he ran up behind me and slammed me on the floor and broke my toe again. It was just other incidences where I'll just be sitting there and he'll come home and he just feel like starting something. So he'll get some milk or some juice out the refrigerator and just come over and just pour it on my head for no reason. No reason at all. And I know I'm kind of like skipping all over the place. I told you there's a lot of story to tell. If I go to start to finish, I'll be on here for like 5-6 episodes telling y'all my whole story. So I'm really just trying to get the bulletin points. It was one time where we had an argument. I wanted to go down to my mom's house because I didn't want to be there. Like I said, I hate arguing. He wanted me to come back. I didn't. So when I did come back, he had took my oldest son, his baby book, his pictures, my pictures, anything to do with me and my oldest son, he took it and ripped it all up. So like my baby's umbilical cord, his baby pictures when he first was born, everything. And and back then we didn't have phones. We had disposable cameras. So those are like memories that I couldn't get back. He even took my laptop from school that I had and smashed it a lot and said somebody was walking past and seen it sitting on the table and they walked in and got it and come and grabbed it. It was bad and it was getting worse. And getting worse. Not worse, worse. And it came to a point where I actually wanted to commit suicide twice. There was one time I was going to actually slice my wrist, but he actually stopped me. And then there was another time I was going to try to take some pills. I just couldn't take it. It's like I'm not happy at home. I always got to come home with always an argument. And the worst thing that he ever did was when we got into an argument, he pinned me down and he just started punching me in my face, just punching me. And I walked up and I looked in the mirror and I had 2 black eyes. Now y'all would think that was a real flag. Y'all would think that would be the okay, that's it. But I actually that okay, that's it was actually when I went to go get my car, and that last story I told you guys. So with that being said, I'm gonna stop my story right here because I am running out of time. I might come back and revisit it, but I just want to say, for last words, just remember to don't let the dark moments define who you are. Whatever your goals and dreams are, keep at it. It's the dark sides that makes you stronger. Learn how to control the triggers. Don't let the triggers control you. Let's fix it so we can have no more triggers. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I appreciate you. You guys have a good day.